And the Golden State Warriors, and a couple of thoughts about Monday night. You're about to make history.
I know, we don't want to go back to Cleveland, so Monday night we're going to treat it like a Game 7. Just going to lay it all out on the
At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today. Hi, I'm John Malice. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. Glad you are here on a Monday morning. It's on the air off the presses. We'll talk about the Orlando shooting and much more here on the program. You're welcome to call in 436-ME-TV, option 11. Back after this, our program today sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande, 2020 Optometrics. Back here on the program on a Monday morning, on the air, off the presses, of course, here on Connect with me on MeTV Fresno. Of course, we'll get to the Orlando shooting in just a couple of minutes here. I want to go through this monologue and just tell you about tomorrow's program just briefly. On a Tuesday morning, we're going to have somebody in here talking about child abuse. It is a very, very serious topic, especially right here in Fresno County. Now, over the weekend also at some juncture, I don't know if it's this week or next, we're going to talk, I did a special, went down to the Giants-Dodgers game over the weekend on Saturday night, conducted several interviews with Giants and Dodgers. At some point, we're going to run a special on that. And, of course, the Giants took 2 out of 3 from the LA Dodgers over the weekend at AT&T Park. Terrific 3-game series there. But first, it's time to talk about what happened as most of the country woke up on a Sunday morning to yet another massacre across this country. This time it happened in Orlando, Florida. As of now, 50 are dead, including the gunman. 53 are injured. I want to put up a full screen New York Daily News from yesterday or today. The gunman who claimed responsibility, 29-year-old American-born Omar Mateen, whose parents are from Afghanistan, but who pledged his allegiance to ISIS. He'd been investigated by the FBI 2 or 3 times for possible connections to terrorism, but nothing could be confirmed. He apparently opened fire shortly after 2 a.m. on Sunday morning in Orlando at a packed nightclub there called The Pulse. ISIS confirmed on its news agency that they were responsible. Here's a recap on what happened from the Associated Press.
A Florida community is reeling after a deadly mass shooting in a popular gay nightclub left 50 dead and 53 wounded. U.S. Representative Alan Grayson citing law enforcement officials identifying the suspect as Omar Mateen of Port St. Lucie, Florida.
The suspect's name is Omar Mateen. He lives in Port St. Lucie. He himself is an American citizen. That's not true of other family members of his. And beyond that, right now, the investigation continues.
Mayor Buddy Dyer says 53 more are hospitalized after the early Sunday incident, adding that the shooter is among the dead.
It is with great sadness that I share we have not 20 but 50 casualties. In addition to the shooter, there are another 53 that are hospitalized. Because of the scale of the crime. I've asked the governor to declare a state of emergency.
Authorities are investigating the shooting as an act of terrorism, and police are now looking into whether or not the shooter was a lone wolf.
Unfortunately, we live in a world right now where there are many people that don't value human life, which is a shame, and we see many events like this.
Earlier, witnesses described the scene as devastating, describing massive amounts of bloodshed.
You turn around, the person next to you is like screaming, there's blood splattering. I didn't know if it was mine or somebody else's, but when I got out, I realized it wasn't mine. It was somebody else's. And then
A fraught mother sharing her exchanges with her son, a hostage during the situation.
Is everybody all right? He said no, people are hurt. And then he said he has us and he's going to kill us, and that was it.
In written statements Sunday morning, White House officials say that President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden were briefed on the shooting. The president now directing federal officials to provide any necessary assistance to pursue the investigation. Emily Roseman, Associated Press.
All right, live in our studio once again is Dennis Hart. He's our media expert. He's been here 52 times now. This is his 52nd appearance here on Connect with Me. We'll get his take on what happened. We'll talk about the presidential candidates as well and how they weighed in. And your comments, 436-ME-TV, option 11. President Obama had a news conference this morning. It was earlier this morning, around 8 o'clock or so, or shortly thereafter, West Coast time. From the Oval Office, he had conferred with his national security team, including the head of the FBI, for more than an hour, and then he briefed us from the Oval Office on what some of the specifics were that they discussed and talked about in terms of this mass shooting that took place in Orlando late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, around 2 a.m. East Coast time. So call in, weigh in today with Dennis Hart. Our program today sponsored by Dr. Thomas Casagrande, 20/20 Optometrics. This guy's a great guy. He's been around 20 plus years. Go out and see him. Back in a moment.
Revan is now on KVHF channel 4.4.
We're back here on the program 436-ME-TV, option 11, a very serious topic today. We'll talk about a couple of other things too here toward the end of the program, but first and foremost, Dennis.
52 times,
yeah,
huh?
I know.
Amazing. You're getting older.
Yeah, I know. I look like 52 years older than when you first started, right?
No
and you do also.
No, I only look 48 years older, so much younger.
You know, I went to the Giants game over the weekend, got back very late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and this thing had already taken place. I didn't know it. I went to bed, woke up very late on Sunday morning, and along with the rest of the nation was stunned at 50 people dead. Actually, 49. The gunman makes 50. And so just to begin the show, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what this tells us. I mean, is it gun control? Is it terrorism? Is it a combination of both? Where do we stand as a nation? We can't stop this. There's more to come. I don't know. All these thoughts going through my head.
Yeah, and I think all of those are accurate thoughts. I think this was a tragedy for more than one reason on Sunday morning. Obviously, the 49 innocent victims in this nightclub. Shocking. I mean, when I first woke up yesterday morning, it was 20. And that was bad enough. That was horrendous.
About what time was that?
About 8 o'clock. Okay. And then shortly after that, about 9 o'clock, we began getting these other tweets, or not tweets, but flashes from the news organizations. 50 people. It took your breath away. The worst mass shooting in the history of the United States. And then you obviously think about terrorism in these days. You obviously think that's the first thing that happened. And it turns out this guy was an ISIS sympathizer. Whether he was motivated by ISIS or whether just sympathized with them doesn't really matter to the victims. They're dead. This told us several things about our country. We are a country that's under attack. There's no question about that. It's radical Islam. It's a cancer in the Islamic religion. It's not the Islamic religion. We have 3.5 million Muslims in this country. The vast majority of them have assimilated into this country. They are good citizens. We have people, they seem to be second generation kids who for some reason hate the guts of this country. This kid apparently, from what his father says, as you heard yesterday, motivated perhaps because he saw two guys kissing.
Yes,
a couple of
on the
months
street.
On the street.
On the street, and
That's
that
right.
infuriated him.
Because ISIS, this cancerous offshoot of the Islamic religion, ISIS hates gays. They hate Jews. They hate women who are not covered. They hate a lot of people.
They hate us.
Kill. They hate us, right? Because we allow gays, we allow Jews, we allow women to be uncovered, okay? It's an attack, yes, on this country. The question is, the most troubling question, and you just alluded to it, what do we do about it? We are not going to deport 3.5 million Muslims. We are not going to incarcerate them, nor should we.
Well, I don't think that however many Muslims there are in this country, whether it's 3.5, 4, 5 million, you can't group them all in one pot.
That is correct.
Because all of them can't be part of this problem. Maybe
That's
a small portion of them.
A small part of them, very
but
small part.
Here's the deal. How do you siphon through that and figure out who's who?
And you know what?
How do you do that?
I wish I had the answer on this show at this moment, because you know what? I'd make $1 billion. There is no answer to that. Look, this kid, 29 years old, he's a killer.
Oh,
okay?
he's a kid to you and me.
Yeah. Oh, to you and me, yeah. He beat his wife. He was a terrible husband. He hates gays, okay?
He hates Jews.
He's a scumbag, a pure scumbag, all right? So, he said FBI investigated him a few years ago, twice, a couple of years ago, because he'd made comments.
3 times they investigated him.
And you know what they could do about him? They could do nothing about him, because it's free speech. We have free speech in this country. You can come on the air right now. I can come on the air and excoriate Jews. I can come on the air and excoriate a lot of people, and I have the right to do that.
Excoriate me.
I can do that, okay? But the bottom line is that's not an arrestable offense.
Yes.
They investigated him, and they said we can't link him to anything. Now, was he giving hints? Yeah, just as the San Bernardino killers gave hints. Just as all of our killers give hints before they do these mass murders. The white guy who shot up all those kids in Newtown, the Aurora, Colorado, the Columbine kids, the Aurora, Colorado shooter, they'd all given hints. But what do you do about that? Unless you go in, unless we're going to start arresting people for free speech, and we're not. I hate to say this. Boy, I hate to say this on the air right now. There's very little we can do about these guys, because he bought the guns apparently legally. We refuse to take any seriousness about gun control. Look, guns didn't cause this. This guy caused this. But we have too many weapons out there. We just do. And some of them in the hands of these guys who are going to kill us.
Well, here's the thing, Dennis. I want to cue up this soundbite with President Obama. This took place yesterday, right after the attacks. He also had a news conference this morning, but I want to set this up. The gunman here, Omar Mateen, he 29 years old. He was able to obtain these 2 weapons. One was an assault rifle, an AR-15, bought it legally. He had a 9mm handgun, fully activated, fully loaded. Just walked in at 2 a.m., kaboom, 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 everybody dead.
That's right.
Okay, so he was not on a no-fly list. He was not on a terror list. He was not on anything.
But he had been investigated by the FBI.
But he had been investigated, but they dropped it.
That's right.
And so
That's right.
here's the thing. I got into, while I was watching the Giants-Dodger game last night, I got into this little bit of a heated argument with my son, who's like 15. And you know, he was talking about more gun control.
Right.
And I says, I'm not disagreeing with you about that, Alex. However, this isn't the gun that caused it. It's the person. Should we have automatic weapons on the street? Do we need military-style weapons?
There's the question.
So we got into this heated
There's the
debate
question.
about how people are able to acquire these.
Right.
And how many of these mass shootings have taken place when 80% of these guns have been purchased legally in these mass shootings, at least in the last 16.
So the question, the big question is...
So we got into this heated argument, and It seems to me like he won the argument to a certain extent. He's a very bright kid. He's only 15, but he knows what's going on. And so that may be the debate within people his age group, the teenage group.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I think that's what's going to happen. I presume he was in favor of stronger gun control.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And so am I.
And so am I. So here's the question that I have. And the audience, why does anybody in this country need an AR-15?
I don't
Why
need one.
in the world do you need an AR-15?
Do you need one?
Of course not. No hunters use it. No hunters use that weapon. That's a weapon of mass destruction. That's designed to kill people instantaneously, okay? You do not need that. Now, you have a constitutional right to have guns. We know that, Second Amendment.
Yeah.
But why do we need that one? It's only used for mass killings, folks. And everyone we see, how many people died with AR-15s? Most of our recent killings have been with that. San Bernardino shooters had one.
Yeah, they most certainly did.
The Newtown guy, I believe, had one. The Aurora, Colorado guy had. Why? Why do we need that? So that's the issue. But that's not going to solve the problem. I mean, getting rid of AR-15s, we have guys out there. We have people out there, and they're generally young men. And by the way, who are they? The profile of these guys? Generally young men.
Hang on,
generally disaffected guys. I can't recall a woman being a mass shooter in the United States.
Oh, San Bernardino.
Well, with the wife, he was with her, yes.
Hang on, caller.
But the issue is, how do we get to the point where we track these folks who are unstable? I don't know, because yes, we can look at Facebook. They always go on Facebook. Yes, we can look at Twitter. But unless you're ready to arrest people for free speech, our very Constitution that guarantees us the right to talk about this today guarantees the right of these killers to say the worst and vilest things and get away with it.
Here's the question that I had, and hang on, caller, and we'll answer this in a bit. I want to take this call, but just think about this. Think about this. If this guy was investigated 2 or 3 times, whatever it was, by the FBI, okay, when he went to purchase those 2 guns, the AR-15 and the 9mm, why didn't a red flag go up?
That's an excellent question. No, that's excellent.
Why?
That's excellent, because at least it should have been on his record. We looked at him for this speech, for these incendiary comments. Yes, that is a great question, and I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, so this guy, 29 years old, Omar Mateen, and we put his picture up only so you can get a look at this
he's a scumbag.
Sick individual who went in and took out 49 people. 53 are fighting for their lives in the hospital right now.
The death toll may go very high.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to his father, who is a questionable figure, as we now know as well.
I know.
His father, who is an Afghan native, who apparently is a Taliban supporter, and who may have raised his boy in this atmosphere of hate
and killing.
Yes, and so this guy sees 2 guys, this killer sees 2 guys kissing on the street and decides, well, I'm going to kill people. I'm just going to go out and kill people.
Let's go to a gay bar and do it.
Horrible.
Okay, caller, you've been patient. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that my condolences go out to the family and victims of everybody in Orlando.
Yep.
Secondly, I don't understand why the media has to make this guy, Omar Mateen, such, now it's a household name. Everybody knows it. There's got to be a way, if they have these shootings, one, it doesn't have anything to do with gun control. Gun control is not going to stop the issue. You can get a gun on any street corner you want on the west side if you want one bad enough.
Yes, you
Two, if you're going to have these mass shootings, why do they make this guy into a martyr? I mean, they're making him famous. You need to drop it. I mean, the guy did a horrible thing. Well, but yet the first thing out of everybody's word yesterday was gun control. That's not the issue.
Well,
That's not going to stop it.
You've got 2 questions here. Let me answer the first one, the easiest one. The reason that we put this guy's name up there is because everybody in the United States has a right to know who the killer was. If we don't identify the killer, it could be somebody down the street, right? Could be somebody you knew or grew up with. You have to identify this guy. It's not making him a martyr. He's a jerk. He's a killer.
No,
I could use stronger words.
Martyr was the wrong word. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, we all agree on that. You and I agree on that. This guy deserved to die. I just wish, frankly, and I'm going to be as strong as I can be on this, I wish he'd been tortured to death. I wish I could torture him to death. And you do too.
I agree.
Okay?
Don't have a problem with that.
All right. And I agree with you that gun control wouldn't solve this. The only question John and I are asking this morning, and we agree on the question, why is it that we need AR-15s? This guy bought them legally. He didn't get it on a street corner. He bought it legally. And there was nothing in there that said the FBI investigated him a couple of years earlier. There should have been a red flag because he'd already made the incendiary comments about liking Al-Qaeda and liking this and liking that. I mean, there has to be some reason why somebody buys an AR-15, and it appears to be mass murder. Because you don't use it to go hunting deer. You don't use it to go fishing. Why do you need an AR-15?
And why was it automatic? First of all, I thought they were illegal in the United States to have a fully automatic weapon.
Maybe it depends. I think it depends on what state you buy that weapon in. California, they're banned. Automatic weapon. You can buy a semi-automatic, but maybe in Florida it's different. I don't know.
So you and I, we're in complete agreement on both of these points. I mean, this guy's a jerk, and, gun control is not going to solve. Now, it's part of the question because, I mean, I'm going to take it to another extent here. If the guy had a knife, he's not going to kill 50 people. You don't have a lot of mass murders in Great Britain because they don't allow guns. You just don't have that.
I understand that, but it was just that every channel you turn it on now, they got this guy up there with his name and showing him, and unfortunately making him famous.
It's
unavoidable. I hope they're making him infamous, by the way, not famous. This guy should go down in infamy.
Agreed.
Should go.
I may not be phrasing it right.
I mean, I sure hope he went straight to hell after he was killed yesterday, okay? I hope he's in hell burning right now, because that's what he deserves.
Agreed.
Okay, caller, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
I guess it's time to take a break here on Connect with me, 436-MeTV, option 11. Feel free to call in and weigh in, 436-MeTV, option 11. Thomas Casagrande, the sponsor today on the program.
At 20/20 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 20/20 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
Want to create something extraordinary? Create perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
This is an especially heartbreaking day for all of our friends, our fellow Americans who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. The shooter targeted a nightclub where people came together to be with friends, to dance and to sing, and to live. The place where they were attacked is more than a nightclub. It is a place of solidarity and empowerment where people have come together to raise awareness, to speak their minds, and to advocate for their civil rights. So this is a sobering reminder that attacks on any American, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation, is an attack on all of us and on the fundamental values of equality and dignity that define us as a country. And no act of hate or terror will ever change who we are or the values that make us Americans. Today marks the most deadly shooting in American history. The shooter was apparently armed with a handgun and a powerful assault rifle. This massacre is therefore a further reminder of how easy it is for someone to get their hands on a weapon that lets them shoot people in a school, or in a house of worship, or a movie theater, or in a nightclub. And we have to decide if that's the kind of country we want to be. And to actively do nothing is a decision as well. As we go together, we will draw inspiration from heroic and selfless acts. Friends who helped friends, took care of each other, and saved lives. In the face of hate and violence, we will love one another. We will not give in to fear or turn against each other. Instead, we will stand united as Americans to protect our people and defend our nation and to take action against those who threaten us. May God bless the Americans we lost this morning. May He comfort their families. May God continue to watch over this country that we love.
Okay, so President Obama overnight criticized heavily, not only by Donald Trump. Let's not make a mistake about that. A lot of people have come out and criticized him for not calling it radical Islam. First of all, how significant is that?
Well, I don't think that's significant from this sense. The term radical Islam, using it, is not a strategy to beat Islam or a strategy to beat back this cancer. It's just a phrase that talk radio likes to use. Hillary used it today, and she made the point on the Today Show. She said, okay, you want to call it radical Islam? I'll call it radical Islam. But that's not a strategy. It's not. It's just a phrase. The president, to me, has not been decisive in this. And by the way, yesterday my reaction to his comments were he looked very, very tired. This is the 6th time he's had to respond to a mass shooting.
And he doesn't know what to do about it.
Nobody does. You don't know.
No.
The FBI director doesn't know. He looked tired. You know, his comment about not doing something about guns is a decision. He made the case. He put everything on the line after Newtown, if you'll remember, after that shooting of all those kids, those 22 kids in Connecticut. He went after gun control and didn't get it. He's worn out now. He's done all he can do.
Why doesn't he just come out and say this is an act of terror?
Well, he did.
Overseas.
No, he said it was an act of terror and hate.
But he focused on gun control, and it's not. This didn't seem to be a gun control issue. Maybe it was partly, but it was also partly terrorism because
he said
a terrorist was able to obtain something legally.
Well, at this point, let's be real about the president, though. There is nothing he can say or do that's going to satisfy right-wing Republicans. Nothing. He could have used the term radical Islam.
Satisfying right-wing Republicans.
Well, sure
this
it is.
about no, it's not. It's about doing the right thing and eliminating the problem.
Well, yeah, but let's not confuse the term, using the term radical Islam with eliminating the problem. Using the term means nothing in eliminating the problem.
But to eliminate the problem, you have to call it for what it is. You can't call a red apple a yellow apple. It's a red apple.
He has said it is religious extremism. It is. He has said that these are people who need to be stopped. They are, and they do need to be stopped. We all agree on that. I can use the term radical Islam. That means absolutely nothing in terms of the fight. The fight has to be, and it's not, by the way, as Donald Trump says, we're going to bomb the hell, which is what he said, out of ISIS. Well, let's start, Mr. Trump. What countries? They're in Syria. They're in Iraq. You're going to bomb all of them? What cities? You're going to get rid of women and children,
Hillary
too?
doesn't have much of a strategy either.
No, nobody. Well, you don't and I don't. Nobody does. I mean, it's a cancerous growth in a religion that is picking out younger men who are being radicalized in a lot of countries and starting to kill people they hate. That's tough to stop.
I'm sure when they go in there, they have a checklist. Okay, we can use a nuclear bomb on them. Is that a yes or a no in the box? No, we're not going to use a nuclear bomb.
No, we're not going to use a nuclear bomb.
Okay, so we can go in and bomb the hell out of them. Yes, we can do that. We can up the bombing. Yes, we can do that.
What are you bombing?
We can send in ground bombing them. We can bomb the oil fields. That's how ISIS is getting their money.
That doesn't get rid of ISIS. That doesn't get rid of that kid in Miami or in
It cuts off the financial supply for ISIS.
But when you bomb oil fields, you disrupt the oil supply for the world.
Totally understand that, but that's one option on the table.
Are we prepared to pay? Well, let's bomb the oil fields. Are you prepared to pay $5 for gas?
I'm putting all the options on the table. We could also send in ground troops. So
right, but here's the problem.
Right,
those are options. But there's always a downside. Okay. When we send in ground troops, your son is 15 years old. You're ready to have him die when he's 18 over there?
There's no draft. There's no mandatory draft like there used to be.
Well, I'm asking you a question. Would you be willing to send your son to die over there to fight ISIS? That's what you have to decide. It's not a matter of, well, of course we can send troops in, but somebody dies. And it may be your son. It could be mine.
They either die over there or we die here.
A lot easier to die over there, isn't it, when you're actually fighting than it is to die here?
I understand. So we have to make a choice. Do we die here, or some people may die here?
What this is going to require is a smart strategy involving multi-nations, multi-forces. It's not a matter of bombing cities or bombing countries, because you're not killing ISIS. You're killing innocent people. That's what you're doing.
Maybe people that are being put there as targets, too. Yeah, Caller, you're on the air. Exactly. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Raul. I want to, first and foremost,
Can't understand you.
Sorry.
Caller, you're going to have to call back and talk into the receiver and be more clear about what you're saying, and maybe mute your television. We couldn't understand anything that you're saying. So I want to go to another soundbite, Dennis, before we go for any further here. I want to talk a little bit about the gunman's ex-wife. She said, she was interviewed in Boulder, Colorado yesterday, said that this guy was crazy, filled with hate, he was an abusive husband. What else did she say? Well, let's cue that soundbite up and play it. This is the gunman's Omar Mateen's ex-wife in Boulder yesterday.
Woken up by my parents calling me saying, "Satora, wake up, Satora, wake up." And I thought something horrible happened. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I called them, and the first thing that they told me was, your ex-husband was involved in a mass shooting, and, you know, reporters are at our house and calling us, and they will be probably at your house too. So I was devastated, shocked, started shaking and crying, because more than anything, I was so deeply hurt and heartbroken for the people that lost their loved ones. In the beginning, he was a normal being that cared about family, loved to joke, loved to have fun. But then a few months after we were married, I saw his instability, and I saw that he was bipolar and he would get mad out of nowhere. That's when I started worrying about my safety, and then after a few months he started abusing me physically very often, and not allowing me to speak to my family, keeping me hostage from them. And I tried to see the good in him even then, but my family was very tuned into what I was going through and decided to visit me and rescue me out of that situation.
I'm not sure what that tells us. I mean, he was an abuser and he was a nasty guy. Abusers and nasty guys don't often go out and shoot 50 people. In fact, it's never happened in the history of the country before.
This is what you didn't hear her say. Her name is Satora Yusufi, and she basically said that after they got married that she had to hand over all of her paychecks. She wasn't allowed to go anywhere. Although he was very observant and never really expressed any kind of sympathies toward any of these radical Islam groups like ISIS or any other groups. Let's take the caller. Go ahead. You're on the air. Mute your TV, please.
Yes, I think that what do you call that? You said that there's no way to figure some of this out. The ones that need to stand up to the extremists in any religious group, whether it's Christianity, in the Jewish religion, in the Muslim religion, Hindus or whatever, the only ones that can stand up to them are people within the same religion. The people that want to live in peace and want to have a good life and want everybody to prosper, they have to stand up and tell those people, no, you're not going to hijack our religion for your own means. It doesn't matter what group it is. That's the only answer. The Muslims have to stand up to this and just say, it doesn't go anymore.
You know, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely.
We're all being attacked because of a minority of people that are doing this. You're getting all the headlines, so of course everybody thinks that we're all doing the same thing, whether it's radical Islam, radical Christianity, whatever. We're all being blamed for this. If somebody that's a Christian does something, well, of course the people on the other side of the world or anywhere that are Muslim or other, sex against the EC, told you that Christianity is no good. If a Muslim does something wrong, too many people say, see, we told you Muslims are no good. It has to be people within their own community that stand up to this and say, this has to stop. We're being branded because of you.
Well, you're absolutely correct, and that's exactly what the Muslim community does every time there's a mass killing in the United States by a Muslim. They did it last night. They've done it today. Muslim leaders stand up and say they're outraged. They say they're shocked. I'm not sure what else they can do. They don't recognize. I mean, it's not a matter of the Muslims have a network like Christians don't have a network to find out, well, this Christian's going to go out and kill his wife tomorrow. They don't know that. Muslims don't know when another crazy Muslim, and there aren't that many crazy Muslims as there aren't that many crazy Christians. I'm not trying to brand that. Don't misunderstand me. But there's no way for them to know ahead of time any more than there's a way for Jews to know or Christians to know. It's unfortunate. Yes, the Islamic religion right now is in a civil war between Shiites and Sunnis.
It has been for a long time.
Yes, and ISIS is a cancerous offshoot, which is hijacking the religion. And yes, you're right, they have to stand up, but what does that mean, stand up? How would they possibly know this guy was going to go into that nightclub on Saturday night, Sunday morning, and pull out a semi-automatic and kill 50 people, 49 people? No one would know that. It's horrendous. This is just horrendous stuff that's going on.
Hang on, caller. This guy was called a lone wolf, and that's the argument. How do you stop a lone wolf?
I don't
know. Apparently, according to the FBI, yes, this Mateen character here, 29 years old, as I said, the court records show that he was born in New York, had been married and divorced. We know that, worked as a security guard. But the FBI also said that he was inspired by ISIS, but there's no indication at this time that he was either trained officially or instructed or had any direct contact.
That's correct. He's just a lone wolf, a sympathizer, okay?
Right.
He didn't like the idea of two guys kissing on the street, okay?
Right.
So now in his religion, in this cancerous offshoot of this religion, he finds reason to go in and kill thee.
My point is he didn't have direct contact, maybe according to the FBI.
Did not.
But so what does that tell me? The power of the internet,
yes,
the power of social media,
yes,
Facebook, Twitter, ISIS is all over.
Think about this.
All over.
If we didn't have the internet, and there are days like yesterday when I wish we didn't, okay, if Twitter went away tomorrow, it would be wonderful, and no one would miss it. But it is the power of the internet, as you say, that is allowing this cancer, this hate, to permeate to people who would never get it any other way, because you're not going to see this over mainstream television. There are filters there that would keep stupid people and hateful people from making these kind of comments and these kind of statements.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
All right. Would you say that we are at war with ISIS?
Yes.
Oh, you said yes. Now, during World War II, when we were at war with the Japanese, did we waste any time and play this game of, well, maybe this one's a bad one, this one's a good one? We throw them in concentration camps. That's what we need to do.
Right, and that's
clean it up.
No, you're wrong. That's one of the worst episodes.
No, I don't think we're wrong. We need to put a stop to this, and we need to stop funding ISIS. We fund them. So we need to clean the mess up, remove the whole cancer. You can't filter through. You can't figure out which ones are bad. Get rid of the whole mess.
Let me explain. Let me explain just for a moment. You've made an outrageous statement and then hung up on us because you didn't want to communicate. You just wanted to make an outrageous statement. We went to war against a country that had bombed us. We injudiciously, and it's been recognized as the worst mistake Franklin Roosevelt ever made, incarcerated innocent Japanese on the west coast of the United States. We are not at war with the Islamic religion. There are 3.5 million Muslims in this country. We are not at war with them. They did not do this. A guy did it, and he is a cancerous offshoot of a very small part of a religion. You don't incarcerate people on the basis of their religion, or else we could incarcerate Jews or Muslims or Christians in this country, okay? We went to war against Germany. They were a Christian country. Did we incarcerate Christians? Should we have done that in this country? So you can't say, that's an outrageous statement to say we need to incarcerate in concentration camps religious people. And I'm sorry you didn't stay on the line, because apparently you didn't want to debate it. You just wanted to make a dumb statement, and that was pretty dumb, quite frankly.
All right, but she's still entitled to her opinion.
But not her facts. But not her facts.
Okay, but she's still entitled to her opinion. We entertain all opinions on this program. I'm not going to shut anybody out. It's time to take a break. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Thomas Casagrande is our sponsor today here on the program. Glad he is, and we're back in just a moment.
When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
At 2020 Optometric, your vision is their focus. Whether you're 5 or 65, Dr. Thomas Casagrande will get to know you, your lifestyle, and vision needs to ensure that your contacts or eyeglasses are a perfect fit and the right prescription every time. With the Valley's largest selection of eyewear, 2020 has over 2,000 frames, including top designer brands like Coach, Tiffany, Prada, Ray-Ban, Oakley, and more. Eye exams start as low as $89, so call or stop by to schedule your appointment today.
All of a sudden we heard like a boom, boom, and we thought it was like the stereo. We were like, oh my goodness, something went on with the, just the music. And after the second shot, there was a pause, and then it just started shooting. And that's when we knew something was wrong. When everybody just dropped to the ground, and then people started running, and they hit they unlocked the door. There's a little lock that has our fenced-in patio, and everybody just started running out and scattering, and I ran across the street to the Wendy's, and thank God for this person who was one of our customers. He let me get in his car, and we drove away. I ran. I mean, I just was trying to get out of there as soon as possible. I just didn't look back, just ran to get out of there. That was my first instinct, to just get somewhere safe. Right. I don't even know I just want to know that the people I work with are okay and everyone's safe, but I don't know. I don't have any form of communication. I left everything, but I'm hurt, I'm saddened. I don't really know what to do at this point, but just try to help as much as I can. I just want to make sure that the people that I know and love are okay who are in there, and I hope I can get some answers soon, because I don't know any.
We were talking during the break about how many times in the course of the years that I've been on the show, 52 times now, we've had to talk about mass murders. Yeah. And we figured four times.
Four times, yeah.
4 times. And every single one of those, it seems to me, we've asked the same questions and had no answers. No, we don't have the answers. How do you stop these guys who have these automatic weapons?
And by the way, that young lady that you saw in the videotape there, she was one of the eyewitnesses inside the Pulse. It was a gay nightclub, a gay bar in Orlando, Florida. She was bartending that night and scrambling to get out of there when the shooting started. Here's the thing, Dennis. You had Charlie Hebdo. We talked about that. We talked about the concert shooting in Paris. Yep. Then it was Belgium. Then it was San Bernardino.
Well, we talked about Newtown, Pennsylvania, Aurora,
but
Colorado.
I mean those recent ones that I just mentioned in succession.
And what are the commonalities? In every one of those, guys went in with semi-automatic weapons, assault rifles, and mass murdered dozens of people. And every single time you and I have this discussion, how do we stop that? And we don't know the answer. I come back to this, and you and I agree on this. Why in the world does anybody have the right to have a semi-automatic weapon? Why does anybody in this country have an AR-15? The answer has to be you want to kill people. There's no other reason to have an AR-15. I've never heard of a case where there's been a burglar who got into a house where somebody opened up and killed him with an AR-15, and then they said, I was waiting for a burglar to come into the house. That's why I had this. Doesn't happen that way. So I'm not one of those who, I'm not going to say we need to ban all guns. You're not going to ban guns in the United States. We have a Second Amendment right, okay, the right to bear arms. But why the semi-automatic weapons? Why those? Why in the world do we allow people to have that? It seems to me it's reasonable if you want to have a handgun and you can prove to the sheriff or the police chief that you need a concealed weapon. Okay, go get one. Go learn how to use it. You can protect yourself, okay? But why in the world do we allow people to have those weapons?
Hang on, caller.
Which are the weapons of choice for guys like this jerk yesterday. He had it for only one reason, to go into that nightclub. He may not have known what the nightclub was going to be, may not have known when he was going to do it. Who knows? But he had it for one reason.
Yeah, here's the thing, before I get to this caller here. The AR-15, the M16s are made in various forms by multiple manufacturers, and updated versions, including the M4 carbine. They remain the standard for shoulder weapons, fired weapons for most American servicemen, and that's the question. Hey, caller, should these weapons be allowed on the street? They're made for the military. Should they be allowed on the street, these automatic weapons or semi-automatic weapons?
No, I don't think they should be allowed on the streets, because they are indeed a military style and grade weapon, and nobody should have access to any type of weapon like that. If you're going to go hunting, you should just use a regular hunting rifle and whatnot. and you got home arms as far as shotguns to protect yourself if you get invaded by a burglar or whatnot. But my thing is, why wasn't this guy arrested previously when he was contacted by the FBI 3 different times? That's my questions. And another thing is, as an American, because I was born right here in US of A, is that we should not be taking in no type of refugees from other countries as far as Islamics.
Okay, but he wasn't a refugee. He was born in the United States, right?
Correct.
He was born here, and the reason he wasn't
you're correct. For future reference, just to be safe, we should not let no refugees. And I understand that he wasn't a refugee, and we can't really blame this on gun control or nothing like that. Like you said, it's the power of the internet.
Well, no, this is not a gun control issue in one sense. In another sense, why did he have an AR-15? The reason he wasn't arrested, as your first question, is because the FBI investigated him, and you can't arrest people for free speech. They could not establish a link between his outrageous statements about how he loved Al-Qaeda and any contacts with people, any foreign doings or anything like this. Unless you're prepared to give up your First Amendment right of freedom of speech, guys like this get to say things. It's only, unfortunately, when they then act on it that we find them and we say, boy, maybe they should have done something. But in this case, the FBI did investigate him 2 or 3 times, and I'm pretty sure the FBI is as good a law enforcement agency as we can have in the United States, okay? I don't think they allow a lot of stuff to go on. They just couldn't make the case against this guy. They just couldn't make it.
All right. But, I mean, they contacted him 3 different times. Well, other than that, I just want to send my deepest condolences to the people of Orlando.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? We just started learning their names last night, and we're just starting to get profiles. It'll be on the evening news tonight when we'll see the horrifying.
The names right now. They've identified all 49
But
bodies,
we're going to get their personal stories now.
Right,
it's going to be heartbreaking, and we're all going to cry because we go through this every 6 months in this country.
Here's the thing. He brought up another topic, the caller, which I had forgotten about, and it's going to be made an issue in the campaign.
Yep.
We're not going to solve it talking here, but I'm going to bring it up, and that is the issue of these Syrian refugees. Clinton wants to bring in and is okay with bringing in thousands, as is the president, Obama. Donald Trump, totally against it. So that's an issue, and I'm going to tell you something. That is going to be a major campaign issue with both candidates. You're going to hear a lot about it from Trump. You're going to hear a lot about it from Hillary.
Now, Trump's campaign is based upon 2 things, fear and loathing. There's no question about that, and we're all afraid right now. We're all afraid about being a victim. We're all afraid about our country being attacked. And the truth is, we could be attacked because there are people in the country right now who are ISIS sympathizers. We don't know who they are. We're never going to know who they are probably until they actually take actions like this guy did, because we have a free society.
We don't find out until it's too late.
And a free society means that we have freedom of speech. We have freedom to move around the country. Now, you can
caller.
Now, you can make a case, okay, when you say we shouldn't allow refugees in. Okay, we have millions of immigrants in here right now. We're not going to deport them. We're not going to get rid of them. You can certainly up, and I approve of upping the standards, the background checks, all of this. But when you say we shouldn't accept refugees, in most cases, these are people who are in countries that are dying. They are starving. They want their families to have a better life. Let me remind everybody who's watching today that virtually all of us have grandparents or great-grandparents who came to this country for the exact same reason. My grandparents did. Their country was dying, and they wanted to make a better life. So,
right, but I think Donald Trump's point is that we live in a different time, different era than we did in the 19th century, even the 20th century. And to clearly identify who's who and who's coming into the country and who's being vetted in, that's a difficult process, even for this country. This government, as big as it is difficult to find out who's coming in.
But that doesn't
mean verify
that you
are who you say you are.
It doesn't mean you close your hearts and your minds because you're afraid of something that may happen to people who are in desperate need of help. That's not who we are. That's never been who we are.
See, that's going to be the debate in the presidential campaign.
By the way, you want to know the only way to stop a mass shooting inside one of these things is, and It's going to take billions of dollars, and some businesses are going to have to go out of business. You're going to have to put metal detectors in every single public venue in the United States of America. That's movie theaters, that's ballparks, that's churches.
That's the other thing is, how'd this guy get this AR-15?
Exactly.
How do you get how smuggle that thing in the nightclub?
I thought they had guards there. I thought they had bouncers. Why didn't
How
they
did he
find
get
it?
that gun in there?
Exactly. But you want to stop it? You have to essentially shut off every public venue. Now, here's the question. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to go through a metal detector to go to church? Are you willing? You want to know my answer? I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah.
To keep a gunman out?
You willing to take your shoes off and maybe strip half naked to go through an airport and get on a plane?
That is the only way to stop this from happening in a public venue. And you know what? We're not going to do it, but that's the way to do it.
All right, caller, you've been patient. Go ahead.
All right. To answer Mr. Hart's statement and question, one, we don't need less guns on the street. We need more guns in the hands of law-abiding citizens who can defend themselves, such as in Orlando last night. If there had been people in that club armed, the tragedy would not have been so severe. Secondly, the reason to own an AR rifle, an AR-15 is a civilian rifle, an AR-16 is a military rifle, by the way. The reason to own AR rifles is civilian forces should equal the government or exceed government forces, so we are in a position to rebel against a tyrannical government anytime that government starts to exist. And the Second Amendment doesn't specify any type of weapons. It just says the right to bear arms. It doesn't even say guns. It says arms. That is my statement. Would you like me to stay on while you comment?
Yes, I would. Thank you, and thank you for being willing to stay on. I really appreciate that. But think about what you've just said. First of all, we do not know if anybody inside that nightclub was armed. We have no idea whether they were armed or not. This guy was armed. It seems reasonable that other people could have brought weapons in. Secondly, if these people had been armed, all of them, let's say they all had AR-15s. All of them. They all went into that nightclub, all 300 people who were there. We'd have 300 casualties because everybody'd be opening fire, right? That's like saying, well, hang on, no, you made your statement, let me comment, let me respond. Thank you.
Hurry, because we're short on time here.
If everybody has guns, that's always been the argument. If people just had guns in church, if they just had guns in those movie theaters. But here's the thing. When that shooter opened up fire in Aurora, Colorado and killed those people, it was dark. If all those people had been armed and everybody starts firing back at what they can't see, we'd have far more casualties because most Americans aren't trained and can't be trained to carry weapons.
Well, in order to get a gun, you've got to be trained. You have to go to a class, and you have to go to a firearms class.
But that doesn't mean that you still know how to use it. You can only
you
go
better
through
know
that
how. You're not going to get it. But
the
go ahead.
the idea that the citizenry should be armed to overthrow the government, that's frightening to me, and I'm sorry you believe that.
I'm going to give him one more chance here because we're running short on time. Quickly, caller, go ahead. Your comment, quickly.
All right, I think you're incorrect in that. I don't think you know anything about guns or tactics or military. I've been a student of the martial arts and a shooter all my life, and I assure you, if there had been some people in there armed, you would have a much less casualty rate, maybe only one casualty rate, the perpetrator himself. As to arming against being able to arm against the government, that's what our country was founded on. This country was born in revolution by firearms. That is the whole basis. I think I've said enough. Thank you for listening, gentlemen.
There is a little bit of merit to what he is saying.
One quick comment, though.
Yeah,
there is no way you, the caller, knows, or anybody knows, if anybody had been armed in there, whether there would have been fewer casualties. Right. No way to know that, so sorry, can't accept that way.
Hey, I've got to move on to another topic. I know this is a serious topic, and this won't be the last time we talk about it.
Unfortunately.
You're going to be unfortunately. You're going to be back many times. You'll talk about the conventions coming up, Republican and Democratic. They're coming up next month. One in Cleveland, one in Philly. We got 5 minutes left. So I want to end this show on a little bit of a lighter note and talk a little bit about sports because over the weekend, as mentioned, I went to the Giant-Dodger game. And so I want to start this off. Before the show, Dennis and I got into this little heated argument about Draymond Green. As you know, the Golden State Warriors have a chance to make history tonight, winning their second consecutive NBA championship if they beat Cleveland in game number 5 of the NBA Finals. So now, let me set this up. Give me a chance to set this up. So Draymond Green gets suspended by the league because of that flagrant foul he had against LeBron James in game number 4. It was his 4th one, so they said, out of here. But Dennis and I had this conversation. If you look at the tape, how flagrant was it, okay? So on Saturday night, we have time. Relax. The tape's there. Let me finish my comment here. So on Saturday night, I was at the Giants game. Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Warriors, was in front of the Giants dugout. They gave him a standing ovation. Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors was there as well in one of the private suites. He obviously was there also wearing a Dodgers hat because his brother plays for the Dodgers. He was quickly booed. So after the game, I had a chance to talk to Klay Thompson about game number 5 tonight in Oakland. NBA Finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know why you guys are going crazy. Can we roll it? Thank you very much. Blood pressure.
We are so proud of you and the Golden State Warriors. And a couple of thoughts about Monday night. You're about to make history.
I know. We don't want to go back to Cleveland. So Monday night, we're going to treat it like a Game 7. Just going to lay it all out on the line. And, if we come out focused and play together, we'll come out on top. So I'm ready to get to Monday, and I think we all are excited too. And just can't wait. It's going to be a great night at Oracle.
What in your mind will be the key to game 5?
Getting out to a good start. If we get out to a great start, it's tough to play from behind against a team like us. So we got to get out to a good start.
That's right. If they get out to a great start, because as you know, what makes the Warriors is not their offense. I know that the three-pointers from the Splash Brothers, Curry and Thompson, you heard Klay Thompson right there, but it's the defense, Dennis, that really does it. That's the key, I think.
And the reason we're talking about the Warriors right now is
because the game is tonight. The game is tonight. I mean, it could be the final game, and the Warriors could make history, winning their second consecutive NBA title, but you think Draymond should be on the sidelines?
Well, yeah, this was the culmination of several flagrant fouls that he'd had earlier in the playoffs, and the NBA's clearly stated rules is that he had reached the point where he needs to be suspended. I have no problem with that. If the Warriors can't win without him, hey, you know what? Cleveland was without LeBron, without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love for the entire series last year against the Warriors. Right. So I kind of think the Warriors can survive one game without Draymond Green. They may lose the game tonight if they're a good team, and they're a great team. They're the best team in the NBA. They'll win the series. Could take 6 games, could take 7. Why haven't we congratulated the Pittsburgh Penguins for beating the Sharks for the
that was
NHL
a great series
title?
as well.
It was a great series.
A lot of stuff I've been reading on the internet about this. I didn't watch any of the games, but I read a lot of comments on Facebook, a couple on Twitter, talking about how the Sharks choked again.
No, they didn't choke.
And I can't. These are the comments that I'm reporting back to you that I saw.
Pittsburgh was just a much faster team. They are a
better team.
A better team. They were the best team in the NHL
because they skated better.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So congratulations to them. I suspect that in a couple of days you're going to be able to congratulate the Golden State Warriors for another spectacular season, culminating in the NBA title.
Yeah.
Possibly not tonight, though, without Draymond Green.
You never know, though. Here's the thing that Klay Thompson told me is that, and you didn't hear that on camera. We talked off camera just a little bit, and Klay Thompson was saying LeBron was just being a big baby because he couldn't take it when people on the court in Game 4 were trash talking him, and so that's when he got upset. And I don't know if you saw Game 4 or not.
No. So we should also spend just 10 seconds talking about the last season. And I was over on the Central Coast last week, so I was able to see the games. Vince Scully's last season as the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I watched 3 games, the best. And so I watched all 3 games against Colorado last week. And Vin, of course, was doing all 9 innings on television, as he does, and 3 innings on radio. The very best broadcaster we've ever seen. At the end of the season, we need to do something about him because we've never seen his likes.
Yeah.
He's on one more season here. This is it. And there is an outlet here, a radio station that carries the Dodger games.
I know.
Vin Scully is the very best.
I was in the press box on Saturday. I didn't see Vin Scully. I saw Charlie Steiner.
Right. Vin didn't make the trip.
No, he didn't make the trip.
That's right. Rick Monday and Charlie Steiner do the games.
Yeah. But he has been to San Francisco, and I've occasionally bumped into Vin Scully. Cover of Sports Illustrated a few weeks ago.
A great article. Story about him. Read it? Wonderful story.
We got to do a story about Vin Scully. It's too bad he's not broadcasting the Giants instead of the Dodgers, but that's okay. We'll forgive Vin for that. Best broadcaster probably in history.
No question. And his impact, as the Sports Illustrated article pointed out, when they went to Los Angeles in '58, there were no television games of the Dodgers. And Vin Scully, you could hear him. He took over the city. You could hear him throughout on transistor radio throughout Dodger Stadium.
Gotta go. See you next time.
Bye.
Republican and Democratic national conventions.
We'll talk about it.
The Giants won 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. We'll talk about child abuse tomorrow. See you then. Have a good day.
If you have a need to promote your business or event, please consider MeTV Fresno for your next campaign. MeTV reaches over 100,000 of your potential customers in the Fresno area every single week. Plus, you can rest assured that your commercial is running in the greatest family-friendly programs of all time. MeTV Fresno delivers a strong, loyal audience ready to buy, and your campaign will cost a fraction of what you're paying for your advertising now. Call me today to find out how affordable MeTV is at 905-1925.
Attention all units.